Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special edition of Tunnel Vision. I'm your host, Ryan Abraham, and I'm joined along by Bennie Wylie. He's USC's football director of football sports performance. Did I get that right?
Hey, all that sounds awesome.
Strength and conditioning coach. They don't call him that anymore, right? That's out of vogue or something?
No, you can still call me a strength conditioning coach. I'm still there.
Yeah, but Bennie Wylie, so if you don't know, he was with Lincoln Riley the last 4 years at Oklahoma, bopped around Texas Tech, other places with the Dallas Cowboys, and now he's here at USC since December. He was on the initial. You were on that first plane flight, right?
I was.
That had to be a surreal moment, just flying over. Like, oh, where you go? Oh, we're gonna go to LA right now, and just and hop on a plane.
Yeah, and that was about 12 hours before that. He was telling me that we're going. So yeah, it was a pretty quick turnaround. So,
it's been a little over 6 months since you got here to Los Angeles and being at USC. How's it been so far? I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff we can get to in your job and everything. We definitely want to talk about what your role is and all that, but how's the adjustment been for you?
It's been great. So finally to get my kids out here. So I've got twin boys. So they're 16. I've got my daughter that's 8. And so to get my wife out here, so we've been kind of separated for the last 6 months, you know what I mean? Having those, them still there in Norman, just kind of finishing up school and those kind of things. And so to have my wife and my kids kind of join me out here has been awesome just the last 3 weeks. But other than that, man, I mean, you're in SoCal. I mean, this is awesome. You know what I mean? We're in LA, we're at SC, you know what I mean? Like iconic, you know? And so there hasn't been many bad days.
Yeah. Did you end up in the South Bay, or where did you settle to, or whatever?
We're in the South Bay, and so easy 25-minute commute. Like in the morning, there's no traffic at 4 a.m. So easy commute in, and so yeah, it's been really, really good.
Yeah, I love the South Bay. It's great. So good choice. I have to pick. So if people don't know, I know it's a complex question, but how would you describe your role with the USC Trojan football team?
I'm the favorite uncle. That's kind of how I like to describe myself. Every aspect with what our guys do, from academics to all the nutrition, to the training, to the mental standpoint of our game, and everything like in between. And in the current role that we serve, we kind of collaborate with all those different units. And so our athletic medicine group, we kind of coordinate with those guys. Even our sports psychologists, we kind of coordinate and bring those people in with us to our head nutritionist that we bring in alongside. And so you're trying to bring all these pieces and just make this great masterpiece for our student athletes. So I would describe myself as a truth teller. They don't like me all the time, but I feel like I earn their trust and earn the respect. And so it's kind of like that uncle, you know, he's going to always tell you the truth, but he's going to tell you in a little bit different way than a dad would or something like that, you know? So that's how I kind of like to see myself.
Yeah. If they liked you all the time, probably wouldn't be as effective, right? They can't always like you.
Right.
You're probably not pushing them.
They shouldn't. Right. If they always like me, there's a problem. But I mean, that's a good role. And I think I support Coach Riley and his staff and Coach Grinch. And so we kind of echo their message all off season while they can't be here or during the times that they can't. So again, that uncle message, I'm going to tell the same story, just maybe tell it a different way, push the culture, push the vibe. And again, I think that culture's built in the summer, and I don't say built by us, but built by our team. You know, it's built by them in the summer months and when you're grinding and when you're pushing and when you're doing the hard things together.
So I think a lot of people don't understand. I mean, you're building up their bodies and you're running them, lifting, and all that kind of stuff. I was listening to you with our former colleague, Keely, or our colleague now, Keely Yor. She works with USC now, and how involved you are in the recruiting process. Even the fact that you like to be the closer, you want to be the last guy to talk to some of these recruits.
Yeah.
And you guys just had a couple big official visit weekends. One of the biggest ones USC's ever had that we can remember. But how did you feel like your role was in all that with all these visitors from all over the country coming and checking out the program?
Sure. I mean, it was an incredible weekend. If you left here and just didn't fall in love with the place, you're absolutely crazy, just because there was so much packed into these 3 days that, I mean, from a luau to eating on the court, you know what I mean, like at crypto, to all these different things. And just the recruiting piece, I mean, it is like the lifeblood, like, of your program. And if you're not invested in that piece from like our standpoint, I mean, if you don't recruit the right human beings to come into this building, that makes our job in this room really hard. Like me and my staff, we've got to work even more. So the better that dude is as he walks in the door, I mean, that just enhances our job and gives us a great piece of clay to use. If they're from a good high school program, if they're from a good family like background, all those things help and add and aid into the process of those guys getting here and able to help us like right away.
One of the just by happenstance, I talked to the Stay Doubted guys. The new partnership that you guys have for NIL, and you even mentioned that when you had talked to Keely earlier a few months ago. How does your department work with the student athletes to help them enhance any NIL opportunities that they have?
Yeah, sure. I'm the biggest fan of like the NIL that there is, because now you need us even more than you did before. These deals come because you're playing well, because you're on the field, because you're a good teammate, because you're a good person, you're a good human being. And so, again, those are all the things that we've done for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years in our room. And now it's coming to light. So, I mean, we love it. And again, the more success you have from our standpoint in an off season, the more work you put in, the more time you spend, then you're going to have more production like on Saturdays, and those deals will come and all those kind of things. But from a team standpoint, I'll be honest with you, we don't really even talk NIL deals after you get here. It doesn't enter our building, like, unless it's helping our football team. It's still about it. I mean, this is a team game, and our guys have done an incredible job with kind of handling that piece and being adults. And I love it because it teaches like financial like literacy at this age versus when you get to the National Football League and you're given so much money, you not even had to pay taxes or those kind of things. So I believe what we do, like with the Boulevard and those kind of things, are really going to add to our student athletes and their like experience, not just here for these 3 or 4 years, but into their life.
When you came on board, you're the one, you and your staff are the ones that have your hands on these guys for a lot. You have a lot more time. People don't know the strength staff. You have a lot more time with a lot of these players. Looking through, you kind of had those winter workouts leading up to spring football, and now you guys are on to like summer workouts. I put a couple pictures up of some of them, but looking back at the spring, did you kind of accomplish everything you wanted to accomplish? And how did you feel that went? Really your first spring with this new team.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming from a culture of just high standards and winning and like what it takes to win, and so I think the guys really responded to what we ask of them. But there's always more. Even when you reach the very top of the mountain, now like how do you stay at the top of the mountain? So I don't think you're ever quite there. But did we grind and push and I mean get a lot more improved this spring? Absolutely. Did the guys learn us and learn our staff and what our our culture was and what our standard is? Absolutely. Did guys get stronger? Did they get faster? Did they get in better shape? Sure. I mean, absolutely. And so now you almost start that process completely over again in the summer. And that is that special sauce. How do you now duplicate that again? We had a really solid spring. Great. Awesome. That's over. Next. Okay. Now let's do it again. like this summer, great. When this is over, fantastic. Let's have an incredible fall camp. And so you continue to just add and build to this thing.
I know it's probably hard to pick out individual players sometimes, but you've seen a lot of guys make great strides. Any names that kind of come up to you that you're like, wow, we've seen this guy change his body from this to this, or anything like that?
Yeah, that's really hard. That's like asking a parent like what their favorite kid is. There is a favorite, you just can't say it out loud. I mean, we've had a ton of just group success. I mean, I lean toward our offensive line. They're a great group of dudes. They're the old school, typical offensive line. They hang out together, they train together, they eat together. They're incredibly bright dudes. I mean, they are some smart dudes. They went on a backpacking trip, for a little 5 or 8 day break we had to Europe, that kind of thing. I mean, they're just a good group of dudes, man, that you want to be around, that understand the game. Like I train our D line as a group, so each strength coach has a different position group. So I train the D line again. I mean, like a bunch of great dudes, man, that you want to be around. That are super nice guys off the field, but they are some dudes now, some nasty dudes on the field, but I mean, great dudes. And that's kind of, if you said, what's the thing you're the most surprised about? Just the genuinely good dude that we have here, good human being. I've been pleasantly surprised by that. But so I couldn't give you a name. I've had some young guys that have made some great strides, just making that first freshman kind of leap. But no, we've got a good group.
You mentioned the offensive line. Andrew Vorhees has been usually known as one of the strongest, if not the strongest guy on the team. Is he still up there, or is anyone else kind of challenging him for that spot?
Yeah, they challenge each other a lot. We do a lot of things like with the sports science and the data and all those kind of things. And so we have a Trojan rating that we print out every week. And so those guys are always comparing, like they're flying 10 times, their 10-yard starts, or 20-yard starts, their benches, all those kind of things, all the metrics that we use. But he is still a freak show. We'll test 225 here in a week on bench, and he'll hit it 40, 42 times. I mean, he's an incredibly strong human being. Yeah. And I mean, that's a nod to the 4 strength coaches that he's had. I mean, he's had some really good guys here that have put in a lot of good work with him, and he's been able to learn from each one of those guys. And so I'm just kind of happy to be a part of that process.
Yeah, maybe it's an advantage having a bunch of different viewpoints and different strength coaches. I don't know, if you pick up little things from everybody. There's a fan favorite out there I got to ask you about. Solomon Tuliaupupu, the way he looks, I'll put a picture, he looks a lot bigger now than he was before. What have you think they're going to love you, anything you can say about him. So what would you say about Solo?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, he's crazy now. I mean, I say crazy. He is crazy. He's got a different level and a different motor to him that I really like. But I mean, he is one of the most genuinely nice, I mean, he bent over, said hi to my daughter, that's 8 years old. I mean, he's that kind of guy that just is an all around great human being. But I've been impressed with just the consistency that he's put in this spring and this summer, because for him, it's just, let's get him to the football field so he can do what he does well. And so he's been able to follow just the plan that we put in place between us and David Jack and all those people in there, like Lisa in there, like Russ. He's followed that kind of rehab plan to get him back healthy, and he's done an incredible job. I mean, and he's kind of my workout partner. I usually have a guy or two that I grab, and so he's one of my guys that I train with a lot. And I mean, he's fun, man. He's a lot of fun. He trains hard. He's got intent, like all the things that you want.
That's really cool. Yeah, so they're gonna love it. Anything you talk about Solo, they love Solo for whatever. He's
a great dude.
Yeah,
he's a great dude.
They'll love to hear that. What are the differences? You went through the spring football stuff. We kind of talked about your goals there. The summer workouts now versus what you were doing in the spring. What are the major differences between those two kind of periods of development for the players?
And I would say there's not a lot of difference just based on what the coaches can do now, and just kind of what our coaches are involved with. And so again, we're in the spring, we're kind of prepping for spring ball, and we're getting ready to practice again. Why train, why lift, why sprint if you're not getting ready for the game of that violent game of football? And so in the summer, yes, now the everything ramps up a little bit. The like anticipation ramps up. So again, we've got to get a little faster. We've got to get a little stronger, like in the summer, like versus the spring. But again, everything we do, we try and duplicate again a great version of getting our guys through a great start of fall camp. And then we know once we start the season, we almost start that training process over. We train as hard in season because we plan on playing like in December. We plan on playing into that late part of the year. So again, like our training cycle starts all over again. Like Brian Keggins, he does a great job with our training. He does all of our programming for us and does a great job with that. So again, all 52 weeks are planned. Before we hit one weight. And so I would say just the differences in those two is a little longer season that we're kind of planning for, like in the fall.
Back in the day, I got to interview Chris Carlisle in the under Heritage Hall. He was around with Pete Carroll. So, and they probably had the worst facilities in top 25 for sure. And I remember he was telling me the story. We're watching like Reggie Bush lift, and he's telling me like why Reggie Bush is amazing and stuff. And then he's telling me the story that like, hey, we need better facilities. And the administration said, well, go win a Pac-12 championship. Then they did. And they're like, we need better facilities. Like, go win a national championship. And they did. And they said, we need better facilities. Like, well, you already won a national championship. You don't really need better facilities. So that was kind of stuck with me. I was like, that's, it's kind of interesting. We've seen the upgrade, the John McKay Center. I got about 10 years old or so now. Where do you kind of put that? How important are facilities? And, the weight room and everything looks amazing down there. Like, how important is that to help you do your job?
Yeah, I would say with like recruiting, that's where it turns into kind of what you have when young athletes go to different facilities and what they see and what they compare it to and what parents see and what they compare it to. And so we want to always be able to give our athletes the best in the industry. If we're saying they are the best in the industry, then we want to provide like the best in the industry for them. And it doesn't necessarily tie into anything else other than like they deserve the best. I say I can train them with 2 rocks and a stick. It doesn't. The stuff doesn't matter, but but it does. You know what I mean? When you're going and you're comparing, if we're saying this is a 5-star athlete and we're going to give you the best in academics, we're going to give you the best like in nutrition. We want their whole experience here to be absolutely the best and premium. And so, I'll just leave it at that. I think our administration is on par with getting us up to be the best. I don't think we have any goals of being 3rd or 4th or anything like that. We want to be the best in everything that we do.
It'd be like Rocky IV, where you're like, he's in the, in the tundra, in Siberia, like doing sit-ups or whatever. Like
yes,
punching,
great. Classic has a big log on his back. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah,
that's awesome. Have you seen any kind of changes in this whole industry, maybe the last 5 years or so, where there's more emphasis on collecting data or doing like yoga or stretching or whatever? Are there trends in the strength and conditioning world? I'm sure there's different philosophies. Everyone has different things, but sure. Have you seen kind of trends happening in the industry?
Yeah, I would say, Ryan, that the biggest trend is like sports science is just like collecting the data. Everyone wants the data. And I love the data. I hire a bunch of young dudes that's what they love. They get into. I'm still old school. I still like to grind. I think if you're the toughest dude on the football field, you have a great opportunity to win. But the data is really important to like what we're doing and how we do it. And it kind of like replaces what our eyes and our ears and our soul used to think. Okay, I think he needs to move the bar faster. Now we have the data to say, yes, you have to move the bar faster. Well, I think his legs are heavy. Well, now I have the GPS that says, yes, he went 6,000 yards today, like at practice, and he normally only goes 4,000. So we've got the data to back that up. And I would say that the other trend that I'm really like in favor for is just the aspect of being like aware, like of mental health. We put these young athletes in such an incredibly tough like situation. And so to now just like acknowledge that there is a mental health like component to what we're asking all these student athletes, like all 600 of our student athletes to do, that we're aware and that we're doing things to be proactive as far as the mental health of like all of our student athletes.
One of the things I also learned from your interview with Keely is like how you get involved and you run and lift and do everything with
Yeah.
the players. But it was interesting to see having competitions with Lincoln Riley and how competitive he is. I remember, Pete Carroll was saying like he was super competitive. He would like elbow you in the Lions Center if you were playing basketball or whatever, and just. But it was cool to hear that. So do you guys still have like these Peloton races, or how does that competition kind of going on there?
Yeah, we still run together. We still train together again. It goes all the way back. Like I started coaching when I was 10, apparently, because I was his college strength coach, right? And so like he only remembers me as this young 26-year-old crazy dude that did everything with the guys. And he was like that also, like as a young kind of competitive quarterback, great basketball player, can do about anything. And so yeah, we still get after it pretty good. He still, challenges himself. He still thinks that he should be bench pressing 225 and all that kind of stuff. So it's cool to watch him compete. And it was just a good time during COVID. We got to just like literally try to kill each other every day. We didn't have anything else to do. So it was a good time in the garage. So it was fun.
I love that stuff. I do a lot of like spin stuff. Have you ever, Les Mills? Have you ever heard of that?
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So like RPM classes and sprint classes. So I'm pretty good at those, but the Peloton is like, you can actually compare like all your data with other people, right? So that seems kind of cool.
Yes. Ryan, I dare you to challenge him. I dare you. It'll be a good ride, and it'll be one of the better rides that you've had, because it doesn't matter what it takes. He's gonna do everything to win. So if you want a good ride, go get him.
All right, that sounds great. Well, I really appreciate the time, and I know it's a really busy time for you and getting all these players ready. Yeah, like do they have a break? Like you're leading up to fall camp, right? They're just keep going through the summer workouts, go right into camp, or is there a little break there for them?
Not really, just because of the academic schedule. And so like all these guys, like our academic schedule rolls right into fall camp. We try and build in just a few breaks. Like they'll have this 4th of July, like 4-day weekend. We're really conscious of the time, and like that they need to be normal, like humans, at times. And so we try and get them out of here like as much as we can. But to win at a high level, it takes time and commitment, and our guys are willing to do that. So, they're ready. There's just not a lot of breaks in our year.
Cool. And then where can people find you on? Use Instagram most, right? Where can people find you?
Yes. I like Twitter some, but just a little more Instagram, like B Wylie Strong. I posted a ton of stuff with our guys just because I think they like to see it and just see themselves working hard and training hard. So if you want to see some stuff, just tap into B Wylie Strong.
Cool. I'll go check it out. And thanks again for giving some insight into what you guys do there. And I know the fans are really excited for the 2022 season, Lincoln Riley era and all that, and you're a big part of that. So I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
All right, Ryan. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right, everyone. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the show with Bennie Wylie, USC's football strength performance guru guy. So that was a terrible way to go out there, but thanks again, Bennie.
I love it.
Thanks everyone else for tuning in. Take care.